All right. Good evening. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, all praises to the Most High for allowing us to be here tonight. Tonight is somewhat of a celebration because tonight it makes 5 years that I have been completely free from alcohol and substances. So sometimes you just got to take a break and remind yourself of how good God has been to you in life. And, you saw the caption of the video. It says, "From darkness to light." So I'm gonna take you through some dark periods in my life. It's gonna be very transparent. I'm gonna try to not to go too graphic, but I'm also gonna bring you into the light in which the light is now. This part of my life. But on November the 19th, 2019, consequently, I made a decision to enter into a year-long recovery program out in Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. And that is after 28 years of using substances, being a slave to substances and alcohol, as well as many other addictions. So tonight marks the 5-year mark. And it's so funny, right? Because this morning I was on my way to Durham. I contract with a company out in Durham, providing mental health services for people who are struggling with addictions and things that I have, right? So I'm at the gas station pumping gas, right? And so this guy was like, "Yo, man, you look familiar." And I was like, "Yeah." And I kept going. I don't know if this is a call already, but so I kept going. And so the guy was like, I'm pumping gas. So the guy walks up to my car. He's like, "Yo, hey man, you know anybody who sell clean pee?" And I'm like, "Some clean pee? I mean, what you mean? Like so it registers to me now because I was usually the guy that was walking around asking people for clean pee. Hey, yo, man, I got this. I got to go with my probation officer, man. Where your son at? Where your daughter at? Tell her to pee in a cup for me." So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, dang, I remember when I was that guy. So I'm like, "Man, how much you charging?" I mean, how much you gonna pay? He said, "Man, I don't know, about $20, $30 or whatever." I was like, "All right, man." You know what I'm saying? So he took my number down, and I said, "Well, you better call me tonight because I'm gonna be out of town in the morning." But he hasn't called yet. But then and then he started talking about, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna be that way one day, man. I was talking to my mom, and she said that she was gonna I promised her that I was gonna get off this stuff one day, right?" And so it dawned on me that today makes 5 years that I've been clean. So I told the brother, I said, "Man, you know what? It's funny. I wasn't even thinking about it at the time." I said, "Man, today makes 5 years that I've been clean." And so the brother, he put his car in park. He got out of his car and started crying. Yeah, and I know that cry. I know that cry of having wanting to stop something. But can't. I know that cry. Like when he got out of that car, I felt that cry. And he got out of the car and came and hugged me. And older, black brother from New York, hard guy, right? I can tell he was kind of a hard guy. But he came in and hugged me. And I was like, "Yeah, man, call me anytime, man. Call." He said, "I need somebody like you." So that was one thing that said, "Okay, I got to do this today. I got to talk about this today." Now, secondly, a brother called. Somebody gave him my number. He said he wanted to write a book. And he said the title of his book was "From Addiction to Recovery." And, my cousin was listening to it. I was sitting with my cousin, and he looked at me. He said, "You should write that book," But I talked to the brother, and I had to remind him. I said, "Man, you know what? It's funny you called today." today makes 5 years that I have been in recovery. And so he said, man, look, he said the same thing. He said, man, I need somebody like you in my life. He said he had a year and a half, which is great. Like if anybody out there who's been struggling with addiction or whatever, 1.5 years is great. Like 3 months is great. 6 months is great, because it's all in the aspect of surrendering. Once you surrender, because when I decided to go, I was tired. And like I always told people, I was tired of wearing the mask. I was one of the people who was fortunate. I never hit rock bottom. Like and rock bottom, eating out of the trash can, sleeping on the streets, not being able to keep a job. I never was that dude. I was the one who always kept a job, always kept myself up, always was productive. Matter of fact, let me show you this picture real quick that I pulled up. This picture is 10 years ago. This is 10 years ago when I was in the throes of my struggles. And if you look at this pic right here, many people might know who that is, right? People, if you don't know who that is Dottie Peoples. Dottie Peoples is a well-renowned gospel singer. Now that's in Virginia Beach. I was actually working for a radio station. But look at my picture there. Look at my picture. Don't I look? I mean, I don't know how old Dottie was in that picture, but Dottie was at least probably like 50, 55, maybe 60. I look like I could have been her daddy in that picture right there. Now that's 2015. And I was still, maintaining. And this is the next night. You see me with her right there. Now she's holding my book, but look how skinny and frail I was, right? And mind you, I had wrote a book. I'm running around publishing my book, but I don't even realize how sickly and how frail and how just basically deathly I look in that picture. And I look at that now and I'm like, man, like I didn't even realize, because the devil had me so engrossed. And I see y'all jigging on me in the comments. The devil had me so engrossed in alcohol and yeah, the devil had me so engrossed, man, in that lifestyle that I could not, I couldn't even see myself. And when I began to see myself, I was like, man, look at me. And it was at that time, right about that time, that I realized I needed help. That was 2015. I think 2016, I tried AA. And yeah, and matter of fact, y'all can go ahead. I guess somebody's trying to call. Y'all can go ahead and call if y'all want to, and share some. And make sure you share this video. Share this video, because I want this video to be a testament to someone. Hold on, let me see what this is. Peace and blessings. I'm live on the air, so that means you live on the air.
Hey man, I was calling to say congratulations, man. I was just letting you know, man. Keep up the good work. 5 years is a big number, man. I'll be 4 years in May, so I know where your struggle's at. But just telling you, man, one of the things that got me through was, of course, people, places, and things got me through. And as well as that serenity prayer, I ride with that every day. That God grant me the serenity to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That got me through, man. So keep up what you're doing, man. You looking good, and you got some supporters out there that's been through the same struggle. So we need you, man.
Congratulations, my brother. Keep up the good work as well, man. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. You have a great night, man.
All right, you too.
All right, I love.
All right, love. Yeah, so this is something that you are. A lot of people are not willing to admit. Like during that time, like I was working also at a timeshare agency, and so I would go in the timeshare with my briefcase, right? But in my briefcase, I would have like a liter of whatever it was I was drinking. Tequila, Tito's, vodka, brown, anything, right? I would go to my desk. I worked at a hotel. I was the concierge. So I would, and mind you, it's Virginia Beach, and everybody's coming there on the summer. Everybody's drinking, everybody's partying, everybody's doing this, that, and the other. And so I was the top seller because I could just sell, but also, I was partying with the guests. And by lunchtime, I will be hitting the liquor store again, buying another liter. By the end of the day, I knew that when I got off work, I was going to get some of the white girl. And if you don't know what the white girl, that means you never did none of this substance. And I advise you never to do any substance. So I would get some of the white girl, the booger sugar, you know what I'm saying? The whatever you want to call it. And so I knew that I was going to need some more liquor to keep me through the night. And that was a constant cycle. Now, this is after I had brain surgery. This is, even after I had, my first stroke. That's how engrossed I was with the addiction. And, I'm just so grateful that I'm able to sit here before you in my right mind, with all of my faculties, with nothing that has been taken away from me, the mind to speak, the mind to still think, the mind to still serve others. And I just had to share this with you tonight. Let me go ahead and share this video because I do want to get into some of the things that I had to experience and how that I was able to overcome them, but also, most importantly, through prayer, through surrender, through the prayers of my parents and other people who were praying for me over the years. I could not have made it this far without the help. So just let me share this video real quick, and I'm going to get into some more of the dark times when I come back. But just let me share the video, and I'll be right back with you. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like and share and subscribe to the channel.
From local stories to Wayne County news, get ready to dive into everything happening in North Carolina with Taylor House Publishing. Got a story to share? Shoot us an email at taylorpublishinghouse@gmail.com. If you're looking to publish your book or need some top-notch mentorship, we've got your back. Join the excitement with the one and only Richard Taylor, right here at Taylor House Publishing. Speak with Richard directly at 919-587-7782. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and invite your family and friends to watch.
From Wayne County to the Carolina coast, Taylor House brings the news you love most. Tune in on YouTube, don't miss a beat. Local stories that keep you on your feet. Taylor House, we got the scoop. Taylor House Publishing.
All right, so once again now, so how did I get here, right? How did I go from a church boy who liked to play the drums and play sports, very good in school, to being 5 years in recovery, right? So it was probably about 12 years old. 12 years old, I began to gravitate to some older people, some of my older friends, cohorts. They were already kind of out there in the streets, and I began to smoke the green, the Mary Jane, that Cheech and Chong, and the first time I did it, it was after church. Like, my older god brother, he was already, he would leave church and go, buy his little smoke and then come back, before church was over. So this one particular day, we left church early and we walked across the street to the park. He cracked the Philly blunt. If y'all know what Philly blunts is, that means y'all a lot younger. But so he split the joint, he rolled some papers around it. Man, he lit that joint, taught me how to pull. I took the little baby pulls at first. And man, we got back to the church, man, and I was just laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. Laughing and laughing, right? And so I love that feeling, right? I love that feeling. And I was like, okay, so I would do it occasionally. But then as me and my friends from the neighborhood, like 12, 13, 14, we were in the middle class neighborhood. A lot of our parents, were they weren't rich, but they wasn't, they were working and they could provide us things that a lot of people didn't. So a lot of our friends, we'll get $5 or $10 from my mama every day, go to school. Before school, we would hit the smoke man. Like, and he might have been at the store, he might have been at school, he might have been on the way to school, wherever. We knew, where to get it. Me, Pook, and Mike. It was a couple of more people. Rest in peace to Pook too. But we would smoke every day before school. That became a ritual. It became a ritual, so much so that, and a lot of my friends was doing it at 12 and 13. Like, a lot of the kids was in, lived in that environment. So, they peoples gave it to them. They was part of they was inbred in them, right? And so, we would smoke every day. We would smoke before the football games, smoke after the football games, smoke before the dances, smoke before the movie, smoke before anything. That was what we felt that in hindsight, we felt that we couldn't have fun unless we was drunk or high. And that kind of took me all throughout high school. So much so by the time that I was 15 or 16, I had stopped playing sports, stopped really going to school, and gravitated to the streets. And we had a place around here in Goldsboro called The Block where all the hustlers would meet up. So I started hanging around them, started learning the game, took my lumps and bruises. I liked to gamble. I learned how to gamble, roll CeeLo, play tunk. And that was another addiction that went along with my substance abuse. Now, everything was fine until I was 18 and I was about to graduate from high school. 18, I was about to graduate from high school. It was an older cat. Now, I had been hanging around this cat. He was one of the ones that took me under his wing at the block. And he would always, everybody used to say, man, don't hang around him, man. He's going to have you on that powder. He's going to have you on that powder. Now, if you don't know what powder is, that means, you ain't been out there. You're like, man, yo, man, he on that blow, man. He on that stuff. Now, it had a negative connotation with the cats that I was around because, we just, it was one step lower than crack. A lot of the old heads, a lot of people who knew what that white stuff did to you, they knew it could take you there. And so I always was around them. I gambled with them, I hustled with them. And there was some other young cats my age that he had already turned on, to the blow. Me, I would never do it. But one Friday night, I saw this older hustler. He was standing in a circle with my cousin, with a couple of other guys I grew up with, and they was passing the bill around. You don't know, you put the stuff in the bill, you pass it around. They had a straw or another rolled up dollar bill. Everybody passing around. I never forget, I was with John Boy. Shout out to John Boy. Me and John Boy was walking around. I think we was coming from somewhere else. And I got in the circle. And I looked at John Boy. I said, man, you ain't gonna come in? And he like, nah, man. He walked off. But that night, I took my first one-on-one. Took a one-on-one. And I fell in love with that feeling. Now, that night, it was like I was the coolest I ever been. Like, I rode around the parties. I took my cousin with me. We drunk all night. We smoked all night. We had a ball, right? And from then on, I kept it a secret from my regular homeboys who I was with every day because they had the stigma, right? So I would go, I would make my little money, and they knew I liked to gamble, so I would be at the gambling houses, the dice games. And so then I started using sparingly. Also, I'm gonna be transparent. When I started using it, I found out that if you just use just enough, you can do some other things all night. You know what I mean? And so that became another cross addiction. Like, okay, well, shoot, I can get some blow, I can get some weed, I can get some drinks, get this girl at the hotel, and it was a euphoric feeling all the way around, right? And so, but that was sparingly though, because I didn't do it all the time because I was with people who didn't do it and things like that. So, that went on, and I went to college. I had to go to college, even though I was ducking school. I was blessed with scholastic ability. So, I mean, when I took the SAT, I scored. I scored really high on. I had letters from all types of schools, and so I had to go to college. It was a rule in my house. I didn't want to go to college because I just started making money in the streets. What's up, my journey? Thank you so much. Congratulations. So proud of you. God has a plan for your life. Thank you so much. And so I just started really making money in the streets. And so I didn't want to go to college, but okay, I got to go to college. So what did I do? I take 2 pounds of marijuana in my suitcase instead of books. I said, okay, well, I got to keep my money flowing. And then so I got there and instantly became the marijuana man. And so with that, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. Now, I didn't use cocaine so much there because I didn't know where to get it. I used it when I would come home, and that was in Durham. Shout out to Durham, North Carolina Central. Any North Carolina Central alumni out there, that's where I went. But then, if you know anything about Durham and Central Campus back in '96, the locals would always come to campus to rob us, to rob. And so, one night, I was being greedy. A cat was knocking on this dude's door across from mine, and I knew that dude sold marijuana, but he wasn't there. So I was like, "Hey, yo, man, what you need?" And so dude looked around. I should have known he was robbing because he just looked like a robber. He looked around, came into my room. He asked for a certain amount. He went to count the money, and I should have known. Like this once again, how cloudy your mind is. I should have known that he wasn't trying to buy nothing because he counted like $80, and then he flipped the money back around and started counting again. And I'm like, okay, but my mind is clouded. So he ended up robbing me, and the other guys in my room. And then about 3 days later, then I had to go re-up, and then another guy set me up, and that was when I first got shot. I don't know if y'all see that right there, but that was my first time getting shot when I was 18. That did nothing but make me go wilder, right? And so I did Optimos. I see you, Optimos, Garcia Vegas. Okay, y'all old as me. Optimos, y'all, Garcia Vegas, Dutch Masters, White House, all of those things, right? And so that being shot the first time didn't do anything but put a battery in my back. So because now, I'm really gangster. Tupac was out, all of that good stuff. And so then I stopped going to class, and then I got back to Goldsboro, North Carolina, because my grades were not what they needed to be. My parents said, look, you got all eyes for the second semester. You're not going back. So what did I do now? What did I have to do? I had to stay around this little Goldsboro town. If you know anything about little country towns, not much to do. Whether you're going to work in a plant, you're going to work, you're going to hustle, you're going to do whatever, but it's really not nothing to do but get in trouble if you're a young, ambitious man like I was. So from the ages of about 19 to 22, that's when I really got into, I would say, continuous usage of the white girl. I had some homeboys who did it. By then, it wasn't such a stigma amongst certain people. So we would, I would still do my little hustling. I would work occasionally, but I wouldn't work for too long, just enough to get, some money to either gamble or, get a little pack, get enough money to support my habit. So I spent about 3 years there in Goldsboro. From the ages of about 19 to 22. I got 2 robbery charges, like 3 DWIs and a host of some possession of gun charges. But somebody was always praying for me. The first robbery charge, the guy didn't come to court. The second robbery charge got dropped to a misdemeanor. I did serve like 7 months in Noose Correctional misdemeanor facility for my third DWI, and that was at 21. And so I got out, still stayed around, still, and then that's when the e-pills hit. Like by the early 2000s, ecstasy pills hit. And so ecstasy pills, white girl, liquor, weed, girls, all of those things, just a constant daily party. And I'm not gonna lie, like I had fun. Like those days were fun, except when you wake up in the morning, all your money gone. You don't know what to do now. You done made some crazy decisions. You done did some crazy stuff. And then you just like, man. But all the while, once again, God was watching me. Time goes on, I moved to Virginia Beach. I think I got in it was a shootout, and I heard bullets. Phew, phew, phew. Anybody been in the shootout, you can hear the bullets. Phew, 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 just whizzing by your head. And that night, my cousin just came to saw me. She was a girl. She came to saw me, and she just looked at me, and she just looked in my face and knew that I was just so lost. So I had a god brother. Shout out to T. Thornton. He was staying in Virginia Beach. He let me come up to Virginia Beach, and I had like, what did I have? I had like $100 in a trash bag full of clothes, and I went up there, and he told me, he said, "Look, man, I'm gonna give you a month." And I always thank him for this. He said, "I'm going to give you a month. And after that month, you got to give me $300 on the rent, and you got to pay 1/3 of the bills," because we had another roommate. Bet, right? So I started working. I got about 2 jobs. Mind you, I'm in Virginia Beach, a whole nother town, a whole nother place. So I'm working, you know what I'm saying? And we smoked and drank, but of course, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know the street life. So it was cool. I would work, come home, meet a little girl or 2 here and there. I was being regular. I was being myself. I would go to the library, buy a book and read a book, things like that. Until one day I was working at the shipyard, and we were staying in Virginia Beach. The shipyard is in Norfolk. I didn't have a license, so I would have to ride the bus, right? And so every morning I would ride the bus. I would ride by this corner store. And then every evening going home, I would see the same corner store. And something just told me one day, man, I said, man, listen, man, and life is going good. And that was another problem. It was like self-sabotage, right? And so life was going good. So I said, man, let me get off this bus and let me see if I can find me some blow, some snow, some booger sugar, whatever you want to call it, right? And as the Bible says, seek and you will find. And that started my kind of foray into using in Virginia Beach. I met this guy, he had it. It was all right. And so I began to call him. And kind of use regularly. But then I got another job at it was like a call center. And call center full of black people. Ticketmaster, I think it was. Everybody, once again, it's a party atmosphere. Everybody was smoking trees. And so I began to blend in with people, smoke on break, get off work, smoke, drink and stuff. And then my hustler skills came in. I said, okay, well, shoot, if I work at this place, everybody smokes weed. Only thing I got to do is get a pound. And by the time you know it, I have the whole building on lock. Now, there were other people hustling weed in the building or whatever. But that's what I did. I did that. And then within about 2 or 3 weeks, I quit the job because that's how much, how many people and, how good I was with advertising and marketing. I I had a nice climb backwoods. Yeah, and I didn't start smoking backwoods till I got to VA. Them Pine Oaks gate sets. Shout out to gate sets. They the one turned me on the backwoods. I used to hate them at first, but then I grew accustomed to them. Now they strong now. But a pound of Reggie. Yeah, that's. Hey, look, you might be. Hey, is you one of the boys from the beach last year? Me first. It was a pound. That's what they call it. They said, man, you got that Reggie Miller. I had that Reggie Miller, but everybody was smoking, like, little white boys, white girls, high school students. I stayed in the neighborhood. By the time you know it, everybody knew who I was. And then the gangsters started coming. The gangsters. Appreciate you, TR. So the gangsters started coming. I started meeting people. My name started to ring bells. I started hanging around with Pine Oaks boys, the gate sets. So I started going with them. I ran up on them one day because now they buying smoke from me. They used to say I had the Reggie, but I was when cats smoke and they really need it early in the morning, they're gonna smoke anything. So that's how I got in cool with some younger cats that was out there that was doing their thing. So we became cool and we started have anytime you have to wash your yeah, they had to wash the backwoods. Yep, they had to wash the backwoods. That's funny. Y'all know what y'all talking about. And so I started hanging with them. We started shooting dice on the regular. Money was coming in. I started to meet more people, and then I met this one connect who I didn't know he was a connect at the time, but he started buying smoke from me. He had a purple Lexus with gold glitter. I thought it was so soft. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was so soft. He had gold glitter in it and rims and stuff. But he turned out to be the plug. He took a liking to me. He probably was like 30. I was probably like 23. He took a liking to me, seeing how I moved. And then, he told me he had the soft, the fifth scale. You know what I'm saying? And he kept the fifth scale. So when I started buying like a little gram from him just for my own personal. But then I started buying so much. I'm like, listen, if I keep buying this, I'm spending all my weed profits on this. I might as well get a little quarter ounce or a half. And then, start telling everybody, hey, look, I got the smoke and the soft. And so that's what I did. Sooner or later, within about a month's time, the marijuana went to the side, and the coke money started to come and come and come and come and come. That's when the devil got me in this grip. So I have to say it because that's when I had it. Like, it was always there. It was just always there. Like, the plug stayed around the corner from me. Shout out for those big guns. Appreciate you, Terry. The plug stayed right around the corner from me. And he used to take me out to Norfolk to the they had these things called trick parties. Now, I wasn't never in the tricking. Now, this transparency now, they used to have trick parties. I had never seen it until I went to until I met this plug. Trick parties. Now, I've never been to a Diddy party, but these was probably little miniature Diddy parties without the no Diddy part. Now, I didn't see none of that now, but we would go to spots and just a whole bunch of chicks would be walking around butt naked. You know what I'm saying? And everybody doing whatever they do. And so I'm in there because we used to gamble at this house. So I'm going to gamble. Everybody's still gambling too, but the chicks walking around. And it was this one chick that she was like, she caught my eye, right? And so, and I was like, she in here selling herself back. So, but this what ruined me, and this what probably was the Diddy part of this party, because so me and Shorty go back in the room, and so I'm scripting now. We talking, all of a sudden, about 3 dudes busting the door. And they busting the door and just start standing there. And I'm like, yo, like, what you? They ready to watch. Like, I guess this is what they go. This is what they do. They ready to watch. And I'm like, No, I can't. This ain't how I. I don't need an audience. You know what I'm saying? I'm not with that, right? And then they try to, they try to shame me, right? They say, oh, he's shy. He's shy. I said, nah, man. I just don't get down like that. Like that ain't this, right? So, so then I said, nah, man. I'm gonna get your number, and then we gonna do our thing after this. But came to find out that a lot of the cats in VA was like that. Like a lot of my homeboys, like they would love to have like one or two girls and everybody take their turn. I was never with that. Now, if that's what you do, that's that's what they did, whatever. But I was never with that. Long story short, that's what was going on, right? That's what was going on. So I always had it. We gambled at the house every day. But then I would come home, right? And then, of course, I had my own customers. I had my own girls. I had, girls who just used to like to get high. And then when they like to get high, they like to get free. Freaky Brian Bubble was there. Last year we first stupid. But that was part of the cross addiction. And so if a girl that I met got high, that was all pretty much I needed. Like, okay, both of us can get high all night. And mind you, I'm selling it, right? So even when I didn't want to do it, when it smells good and you addicted to it, like somebody called me for it, I got to reach in the bag, weigh it out, sell it to them. Boom. I can say I'm not doing it all day, right? But I keep touching it every day. And then it's like, okay, I gotta take it. And as one person put it, one hit is too many and 1,000 is never enough. Meaning when you involved in that type of with that type of substance, once you open Pandora's box, it's no stopping. So that's how it would be. I would be up 2 or 3 nights, 4 or 5 nights, because when the party's over, when everybody leaves, I'm still there stuck with it, and it's there. And so 2 up, 2 down. Yep, that's VA's crazy. But so that's how I really got addicted. And I would actually fall down on my knees at night. Now, this once again is probably like a year or 2 in. This is how quick it happened. A year or 2 in, I'm probably looking like I was in the Dottie Peoples picture. I was looking like that then 10 years earlier. But because I had the money, because I had the clothes, because I had, I had to work, I didn't see myself. I saw myself as that man, that dude that soon as when I wake up in the morning, my phone ringing, before I when I'm going to sleep at night, my phone ringing, everybody want to see me because that's that's what everybody did. Virginia Beach was a party town, right? And so then it got to the point that, some of the homeboys I was with, they started robbing each other. They started breaking into my house. The dice game started getting robbed and things like that. And so I was like, okay, I got to move away from these guys, right? So I moved down way to the ocean front, way away from everybody. Still have my same customers, still have my same, my same girls. I still have my same, routine that, everybody would call me. I would have, and this was another reason I was trapped, because I started living a lifestyle. And that's what, walked into a swingers a bit. I started living a lifestyle that required me to have money. Like I'm staying in this back then, $1,000. I don't know. $1,000 wasn't really that much back then, but it was to some people. So I'm staying in this little $1,000 little condo, little townhouse joint down the beach. I got the car payment now. Got these bills. I got furniture. I got to keep up the persona. So now I got to pay the bill. So every time I say, God, Lord, please, I don't want to do this no more. I wake up in the morning, my phone's ringing. I got a closet full of dust, and then I got bills coming. So now I'm stuck, right? Until, things just started getting, things just started, falling apart. Nothing good lasts forever. So about 2005, 2006, I started saying, I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to get into real estate, got my real estate license, started, trying to wheel and deal, tried to sell, but I still had one foot in the game. And, house started getting, broken into again. Started trying, cats started trying to set me up, that type of deal. If anybody been out there, you know how it goes when, and for me, in hindsight, is God was trying to tell me something. And to the culmination of 2008. Now I told y'all about that. I did a whole synopsis of that incident. October the 31st, that was the anniversary where I was shot 3 times while holding my 3-month-old daughter. Now, if y'all want the whole story of that, you can go back to October 31st, because once again, that day stuck up on me, and I had to, the market crashed as well, so I had to stay in the game. But nevertheless, I got hit. I got hit 3 times at the scene. Some stuff was there. I caught a charge, went to jail, and that's when I began to change. That was 2008. In 2009, I moved back home to Goldsboro, got back into church, started writing my first book, which you saw with Dottie Peebles. And, I got back into church, started praying, started reading my Bible, and it went good for about 6 months until the North Carolina Real Estate Board denied my license. Because if you was in Virginia, you can transfer your license. But because by that time I had, how many felonies did I have by that time? I had 2. I had a hit and run, and I had, the charge when I got caught, when I got shot. So they denied my my real estate license. So that sent me on a downward spiral. Now that's 2009. I'm like, God, I've been going to church. I've been doing everything right. God, this, that, and the other, man. So I say, forget it. Forget church. Forget doing the right thing. I'm going to start hanging back in the streets of Goldsboro. Started hanging back in the streets of Goldsboro. Got up with some old homeboys. Found out they did the blow. So for about 2 years straight, that's what I did here. I would work a little bit. I would gamble a little bit. I would hustle a little bit. But every night I would be somewhere getting my nose dirty, as they call it. We was getting our nose dirty. Same routine, but because I had, because I realized God spared my life. So I wasn't going back too deep in the game. You know what I'm saying? I would just get high. I would be around the hustle, but I won't touch it up, because I knew that God had already warned me before that happened. So I was like, I'm just going to sit and get high and just be a stump on the log, mess with a couple of girls here or there, but I ain't touching nothing. I'm just getting high. Until 2011, another bright light comes on in my drug-infested mind. Said, man, shoot, I'm sitting around Goldsboro just getting high and all, and I think I was in school, so I got a refund check. Refund check was about $3,000 or $4,000. I said, man, I've been sitting around here for 2 years, man. I might as well go back to Virginia and hop back in the game if I'm gonna be out here. And of course, what did I do? Took that refund money, read up, got some blow, went back to Virginia, July 4th, 2011. July 4th, 2011, I went, got up with my homeboys, called all my old customers, and it was like they never left. Like, I was, as soon as I got up there, I'm dropping stuff off. Man, we're glad to have you back. The devil always waiting for you, right? You know what I'm saying? The devil is always waiting for you. Like, so it was it was the night I done dropped out. You know, I dropped as much as I could off where my homeboys want to go. Right? I see you talk about it in the comments. My homeboys at the 4th of July, they want to go to an after hours strip party. And I'm like, okay, I'm with y'all. I'm out. Mind you, I'm getting my nose dirty too. So I got a little bit left. We get to the strip party. Cats go to shooting out. Dudes go to shooting out. So you know how you leaning over a car like this, talking to a girl. The girl I'm talking to got hit. The dude beside me got hit. The dude that came with me got hit. And like 3 other people got hit. Everybody take off. I'm running down Virginia Beach Boulevard with a powder, you know. I think I had about a 16. If you don't know what a 16 is, that's good. So yeah, lust was definitely a factor. Like all of these addictions were rolled up into one. And so police see me running down the street. Luckily, they don't shoot me, of course. They won't shoot us that down back then. So they stopped me. They searched me. They didn't find it, but I had a warrant because I had left the state of Virginia when I got shot the first time, when I got caught with the blow, when I got shot. Take me to jail. Once again, I'm so addicted. When I get into jail, I stuff the stuff in my drawers. I think I told you the story, but I stuff what is a 16? Exactly what is a 16? Somebody tell me what a 16 is in the comments. But so I stuff it in my drawers, and then I go, you know, I'm waiting. I call my bondsman. My bondsman, he was on it too. So, you know, he was like, yo, man, I come to get you, man. Mine just like 2 a.m. I come to get you, man, but you know, I ain't getting up till 5 or 6. I'm like, come on, man. He's like, man, I can't get up, man. He been partying too. The bond's been too high to come get me, right? So, in my stupidity, I'm in there. I'm in the holding cell. I'm in the holding cell, taking out the, you know, putting my back to the door, taking the stuff out, looking around. In the holding cell, put it back in my drawer, right? And then I start rapping. You know, I'm geek, right? So I'm in there rapping. Biggie, you know, so I'm rapping all the songs. Put the high, you know, can't not the hustle into them banks. So they know, and I don't know if they start watching the cameras, right? So I'm still trying to, I don't flush it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo. So by the time I guess I got on their nerves down in the booking room, so they wanted to dress me out. I'm like, man. So when I see them coming to the door, once again, a sane mind, a logical mind would say, flush it, right? No. I said, okay, I'm gonna just stuff it deeper down, you know, under my you know, under my family jewels, and you know, I'm gonna sneak it upstairs. Why? Right? So anybody ever been to jail, you know, when you go back, they about to dress you out, put you in the orange jumpsuit, you got to strip down. So I'm like, I know this, but I said I can outsmart them. I can outthink them, right? So boom, scripping down, right? Scripping down. So when I'm scripping down, I take my drawers off, but as I'm pulling it down, I grab the stuff in my head. So I got my fist balled up, and you know what they do? They say, okay, go ahead, turn around and cough. You know what I'm saying? Lift up your sacks and cough. Right? And then so he like, turn around. So I turn around, and he like, lift up your hands, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to lift up your hands and open them up. Mind you, I still got it right here. So now I'm like, okay, I'm stuck, right? So now I got to try to swallow it, right? So when he say lift up your hands, I say, and do like that. And then he automatically yelled, hey, he got something. Boom, he jumps on, right? Big country white dude, right? From Virginia Beach. Hey, he got something. Before you know it, they done seen it on the camera. So, you know, just like you see in those videos and everything like that, they come and jump on you too. Like it's like I said, that's what they're trained to do, right? So I won't run around there. So they jump on me, right? They jump on me. They start grabbing me, grabbing by my throat. He got something. He trying to swallow it. Now, mind you, I'm super high. My mouth is dry. If anybody, ever use that stuff, it makes your mouth really dry. So I can't muster enough saliva to get it down. And so now I'm trying to swallow. I can't swallow. They got their hands on my throat. He's one no diddy, you stupid. They got my hands on my throat. So now I got to chew it. So I just started chewing. If anybody knows anything about that stuff, it makes you numb. Right? So now I'm chewing, but my whole mouth is numb. I got one on my back, one grab my arm. They got me in the cobra clutch. You know what I'm saying? Well, one sit on your back, one hold your neck up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like this. I'm fighting. Then the nurse come in with the tongue goggle, what they use with your when you get in the what you call. So okay, yeah. So now she's sticking in my throat. She's sticking in my throat. I'm still struggling, chewing. I'm chewing the thing. Mind you, I can't feel nothing because I'm super high and I'm numb. So now the officer gets smart. I won't open my mouth. So what they do? Officer say, "Oh, so what I got to do now? I got to open my mouth." And so now they pull out. Only thing they get is a soaking wet plastic bag. But of course, that's what they wanted. And so when I tell you that they will kill you, and if I would have died, they would have said, he choked on whatever he was trying to swallow. That would have been the narrative. Nevertheless, so I got caught with that too. And mind you, now my lip is bleeding, right? So my lip is bleeding, and I'm so super high, I'm all numb. And now it done ingested into my system, so I'm really super duper. So now my lip bleeding, and I'm like, man, y'all cut my lip off. Y'all cut my lip. So now I'm just crying like a baby. I'm super. So I keep spitting blood. I'm thinking my lips go, because I can't feel it. They won't let me see myself. And so I keep spitting. So now they put a muzzle on me, right? They put a muzzle on me for real. And then they put me in a turtle suit. Now, if y'all don't know what a turtle suit, that means y'all ain't never been in the pit situation that have a turtle suit on. So the turtle suit is like a green suit where they tie you up. It's almost like a straight jacket, but it's not. A turtle suit is when you naked and they got to put you in a padded room. You know what I'm saying? So they put me in the padded room for 3 days. So they put me in the padded room for 3 days. And then, so, now I come to my senses, of course. I'm in there praying and, Lord, what have I got myself into? 2 days later after I come down. Long story short, I had to sit in there for 6-7 months, right? I go to court, they find me guilty of probation violation and, the possession of paraphernalia by an inmate. So I get out. Now, mind you, all during this time, I'm reading the Bible, I'm working out. I'm like, okay, man, when I get out, I'm going to finish my book. But the first thing I did when I got out was I went to go get my nose dirty. All right? I went to go get my nose dirty. And then I got kind of straight. I started back going to school. The end of 2012, that's when I published my book. I was in school, so I published my book. But I was still, off and on when I would come home or, occasionally. I was still smoking regularly. I was still drinking regularly. So I wasn't all the way right, but my book was called Brushes with Death, The Blood of Jesus. Had a big book signing down here. Goldsboro, was walking around selling my book. So I was doing pretty good until I met Courtney. Now, Courtney was a girl I knew. I used to mess with her friend back in the days. And when I was really in the streets, probably like when I first got to Virginia, that first run. So I met her at the school. We started talking. Long story short, our relationship got sort of tumultuous, and she was the one, and I heard somebody talk about it in the chat. She was the one that falsely accused me of the R word, kidnapping, abduction with intent to defile, and like 3 other charges, right? And so took me straight to jail. Don't pass go. Do not collect $200. I sat in jail on the 7th floor, 811 Norfolk Jail for five months until I had the trial. And of course, when the trial came, they found out that she was lying, DNA evidence, phone evidence, all of those things. And for that, you got to get wrongfully accused, rightfully acquitted. And that's available on Amazon. All my books are available on Amazon. I'll probably do a maybe next week sometime, give you the whole story on that, or you can get the book. But that incident right there, me facing the rest of my life in jail for something I did not do, really drew me closer to God. First of all, I learned how to pray. I learned how to read the Bible. I learned how to fast. Because like I said, I've been to jail a lot of times for things I did do. So that was cool. But going to jail and facing the rest of your life for something you didn't do, that's a whole other animal. So I really turned my life to God, and I knew why I was there. God had to put me there to show me, like, look, man, you can't keep playing with me. You can't keep playing with me, because I was sort of professing, the blood of Jesus, this how God saved me, but I was still doing the things that he saved me from. So I think that was his way of putting me on the head like, yo, man. So basically, I get out of that, right? I get out of that. Well, no, God takes me through that. Let me correct that. Now, Courtney was black. It's a deep story. So, but 3 months later, I have a headache, and I think I told a little bit. I won't get into all this story, but I had a headache. I went to the hospital, and the doctor said, you got 2 brain aneurysms. Now, all through the trial, I had a headache that week. So I don't know if it was just stress from the trial, or I did get in a fight, and in the fight, I hit my head on the bars twice. So I don't know if that caused it, but the dude was like, yo, Dr. Kennedy, black dude, said, look, man, you got 2 brain aneurysms. One of them is bleeding right now. We don't know which one it is. We got to have surgery like immediately. We got 3 options. We can go through your thigh and run a catheter up there, and we can get one of them, but we don't know which one is bleeding. Or we can go through your head. If you go through your head, there's a chance that you might die. You might not live. You can be paralyzed. You can be blind. You could, be deaf. You can be paralyzed. Whatever the case may be, he told me all those things. Or he said, well, we can just wait and see what happens, but you'll probably be dead in the morning. So I signed the paper. I called my parents. I called my homeboy. I called a couple of people. We prayed, and, they had the surgery. The only thing I remember was them taking me down and shaving, this part of my head. I don't know if y'all can see it right there. That's why my edge up. My cousin always talk about my edge up, but one side is higher than the other one. So they did the surgery. 10 days later, I was walking out of the hospital with no complications. The doctor, said it was like the fastest he's ever seen someone heal. I still had stitches in my head, but what did I do? Y'all tell me what I did. I went right back to Goldsboro. The day after I got out of the hospital, my mom and dad came to get me. I came right here to Goldsboro, got up with one of my homeboys, and what did we do? We go get us some powder. Go get powder, go get liquor, go get cigarettes. Up for 2 nights straight. with stitches in my head, with $2,400. 10 pills cost me $2,400 they gave me, right? And it didn't click until I just felt my skull beat. And I'm like, man, I am really crazy. Like, I'm really crazy. Like, but that's the definition of insanity. That's how strong addiction is. I wanted that feeling more than I wanted to live at that point, you know. So then I calmed down, came to my senses, realized, people started calling me and be like, hey, they reminded me that I did just have brain surgery, right? So let me, let me start eating some coconut oil, and people started bringing me healthy stuff. I was like, yeah. So I stayed clean for a while. I recovered for about 30 days. Then I moved back to Virginia Beach, and that's when I started working at the oceanfront. Party hardy, right? I started being good in sales. I took the department by storm. I was top seller. I was once again, I used my street tactics in the corporate world to kind of, I wouldn't say manipulate, I would say persuade people to, go on these tours and buy these things and stuff. I was a good talker. I could talk to anybody because, once again, everybody I dealt with was all people of all ages. Rich white people was on powder. The people in the gutter was on powder. Old people, young people, gay people, straight people, Mexicans, Latins, everybody was on powder. You know what I'm saying? So I knew how to talk to anybody. So, so I went back to Virginia Beach, got in there, started making a lot of money. And with the money came drinking. And what made me start back use? I don't know. Maybe it was a girl. Maybe it was just, once again, my idiocy. I started back sniffing, right? Started back sniffing. Now, mind you, once again, I had written my second book by then. 2015, I wrote the second book, Wrongfully Accused, Rightfully Acquitted. I wrote that actually when I was in the hospital with brain surgery. I was working on that then. So that took me about 5 months. I published that. I'm at the thing, I'm at the at the oceanfront working. I'm just, once again, being my old self, just having just having a ball, just partying. Right? By this time, like 2014, I'm 36, still young, still, people coming. Like I said, the oceanfront was probably the worst place I could ever work because everybody who comes there is on vacation. They're coming to party, and I work there every day. So, you know what I'm saying? This party, like, people invite me up to their rooms and, what are you doing when you get off? Come on, we're gonna, it was that type of deal. So started right back, getting high every night, walking to work like this. This is the leader of tequila in the briefcase era. This is that, every day. And the people at work knew, but when you a good salesman, they don't care what you do, long as you're making the department money. And so that was the thing. So then I was like, shoot, all these people around here get high too. So what did I do? I started, moving and shaking again, doing little. And once again, I was scared to go hard as I was going because I didn't want that. I didn't want to feel the wrath of God. But I kept going. From 2014 to 2016, I worked at the oceanfront. Lost that job because this is my man, this George Floyd uncle right there. We're gonna call him back. Matter of fact, now I'm gonna let y'all speak to Uncle Selwyn. Uncle Selwyn. What's up, man? You live on the air, man. I'm doing a live show, man. But I told everybody who you was, man. Y'all can't see him, but this is Uncle Selwyn, one of my mentors. This is George Floyd's uncle. He's from Goldsboro. Well, yeah, he's from Goldsboro, North Carolina. He's actually in Goldsboro right now. How's the family doing?
Oh my God, man. Let me tell you, I love coming home. But it's sad that we have to come home and only get together when people pass. So I want to tell everyone, love your family. Love your sisters and brothers and mothers and nieces and cousins and aunts. Hold on and love them as long as you can, as hard as you can, because you never know when that day is coming. Prime example, I was coming to Goldsboro to go to my brother's funeral. Then I get a call yesterday. My oldest sister died. And after my brother's funeral, my nephew had a massive seizure in McCall's. So this has been a time to pray and a time to come together. Family first. Keep fighting, keep your head up, and hey, I'm home.
All right, I'm gonna hit you back when I finish this live.
All right, my man. I appreciate you.
All right. Yeah, so that's Uncle Selwyn, man. We've been, I met him in I think Delaware at an event. But that's the kind of doors God has opened for me. But just let me finish telling the story real quick, and I'll just give me like 20 more minutes though. But so from then on, I got fired from that job because after a while, everybody just got too comfortable with me and thought they could just kind of talk to me any kind of way, which I don't. That's why I don't work for nobody now, because I just can't have nobody talking to me any kind of way. But then that's when I tried the AA, because I really realized I had a problem when I would wake up in the morning and I would be I would have the liquor right by my bed, and then I would try to grab it and I would be doing like this. Now this is at 36, 37. So I was like, man. So I tried AA for about 6 months. I got my 6 months chip, and then this girl came down from where she came down from. She was from Covington, Virginia, country girl. Found out, she likes to party. So that was that, right? Once again, that's the cross addictions, right? And so that went on for about another 2 years. Now, mind you, I'm still on probation. And so probation was 8 years, right? So my probation officer was sent by God, because anybody know anything about Virginia, soon as you get a dirty urine, they're supposed to violate you. However, I got about 11 dirty urines. And what he would do, he would give me a lecture, what your parents gonna say, man. Ain't your father a preacher? How's your daughter gonna feel if you go back to jail, man? I hate to send you back to jail. And so he would prescribe me a class. And the class would be like every week. I had to go take drug tests and everything. And so I went through about three of those classes, like 24 weeks. Some was 26 weeks. Some was 16 weeks or whatever. And so in 2018, I had been prescribed one of those classes. And every Thursday was the class. So I knew that every Thursday, before I go to the class, I'm going to get me a bag. Because if they drug test me at the class, then after I leave the class, I wouldn't be drug tested for another week. So I could get high, and they say, the white girl leaves your system without a week. Within 3 days, don't trust it. You know what I'm saying? If you are. So Bernard Johnson, I'll never forget him too. He was the best. Actually, when I left recovery, I went up there and talked to him and told him I thanked him. You know what I mean? So 2018, one night after class, I had went and got some what I thought. And in hindsight, I realized probably what it was. But it was some white powdery substance. You start can't stop, won't stop. You stupid. Joe Smith, you crazy. So mind you, I'm leaving the class, right? I can't even wait to get home. I'm opening up the bag. I hit, I pull to the little corner store. I hit the bag, get out the car, buy me about 4 or 5 Lucy's, because you need some squares if you know anything about that. So by the time I get back in the car, I hit it twice. I'm dizzy. Now the store right down the street from my house, By the time I get there, like my head is spinning. My head is spinning, and I'm just like getting so woozy. And so I try to park the Jeep, but I can't even park it because I can't even get it into space. Like that's how woozy. So I just pulled into the office parking lot. I got out of the car. Now, of course, I had already poured it in the bill. I poured some in the bill, and I poured, I had the bag. And so I got out the car. I got out the car and started walking towards my apartment. And then, boom, I fell. And I'm like, man, what is wrong with me? And then, so I got my phone in my hand. I'm like, man, if I could just make it to my apartment, right? So I started walking, started staggering, and I staggered onto this car. And I was like, man, if I can just get up and get to the apartment. So I get off the car, and I stood up, and it felt like somebody picked me up, slammed me on the ground. So I'm like, man, what? And so then, right, I try to get up. I try to sit up, but I can't, right? I can't. I'm trying to dial. I got the phone in my hand. I'm trying to dial 911, but you are sober for what? I'm trying to dial 911, but my mind won't compute to my hand. So I'm just sitting there. And so then I tried to get up, but I can't get up. And so then I just lay back. I lay back. And then my body fluids start exiting my body, from both ends. Well, the front and the back, let's say that, because both ends sound crazy ditty like. But so my body fluids start doing their own thing. And so I was like, man, and I'm looking up in the sky, and the only thing I can think about is, damn, man, I got a daughter, daddy dance tomorrow. I just went and got my outfit. I had a daughter, daddy dance. And I was like, this is how it feels like when you about to die. Because it was just so peaceful. Like, it was just so, in hindsight, I realized that probably what I had got was fentanyl. And that was before, fentanyl was very popular. This was in the end of 2018, or the beginning of 2018. So I realized probably now, because I used to really, get down. So like 2 toots wouldn't have had me like that. So finally somebody comes up and say, hey man, you all right? And so I turn my head around and I try to get up again, but now I'm realizing my whole left side is paralyzed. Like my left arm and my left leg is paralyzed. So I'm trying to get up, but I can't. So I'm rolling over on my side. I'm like, because I'm trying to talk, but that's all that came out. And so that let him know something was wrong with me. So he called the ambulance, the soil clothing. Yep. So he called the ambulance, and I sat there until the ambulance came. And so, but all the while, I still got this stuff in my head. I'm not letting it go, right? It was a stroke. Yep. And I knew. So when the ambulance finally came, I looking around for the guy. He ain't nowhere to be found, right? He ain't nowhere to be found. He just told him where I was. And so when the ambulance comes, I take the stuff and I slide it up under a tree root, right? Slide it up under the tree root. Then, the guys come get me. They lift me up. They tried to make me walk, but I'm trying to tell them this side of my body is paralyzed. I can't. And so I'm holding on to the dude like for dear life because I'm like this, and this white guy like, get off me, man, get off me. If you keep holding me like that, I'm gonna let you fall. But I can't tell them that I'm having a stroke. So they get me in the ambulance, and now they try to ask me questions. Now I can't say nothing. Like, I can't say nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I done did it now. I really done did it now. So they checking my organs. Now, mind you, my habit was so bad, I used to go give plasma. I think y'all can still see the little dot right there. That's one of them. I used to give plasma. So now they looking at my arms like, oh yeah, he's probably on heroin. I'm like, no man, I'm happy, you know what I'm saying? But I can't talk. So they will be into the hospital. They will be into the hospital. The lady, the nurse, a white nurse, I'll never forget her face though. I don't know her name, but she walks up, calm and cool. She said, what's going on? And all of a sudden I say, I'm having a stroke. Like everything came back. Like my voice, my movement. Oh yeah, Laz, I ain't even looking at Laz, but he gonna make me laugh. Laz stupid. Oh, this dude's her name is Becky. So Lydia. So boom, right? Everything's good, right? And so the lady looked, so they wheel me in. Of course, they do the regular CAT scan, you know, they put me in the machine, pull me out the machine, you know, the doctor looking at my chart. And she asked me, she said, have you been doing, you know, drugs? I said, yeah, I have. And she looked at me, shook her head. She was like, you're crazy. You're crazy. And so, yeah, and I was literally crazy. So they wheeled me upstairs, you know, they gave me the ID, they did a little test. You know, they gave me some medicine to bring my blood pressure down or whatever. Called my parents as usual. They come up there, pray and all, bring me some more clothes. Until I got out of the hospital 3 days later. Got out of the hospital 3 days later. I had to go get my Jeep because my Jeep was parked in the parking lot and they had towed it. So as soon as I get in the Jeep, mind you, I had the liquor already because I was going to party that night. So I'm looking at the Jeep. My parents done threw the liquor out. Thank the Lord. Not really, because I went right to the liquor store though. So I went right back the same night I got out of the hospital. I went right back to the place that I laid down there and was looking for that stuff. And I was mad. Yeah, I was mad it wasn't there. But I was out in the back of my mind, I was mad because if that stuff was still there, I was going to do it. The same, like I was going to, like, there's no doubt in my mind, I was going to try it again to see if that was a fluke or not. Now, mind you, 2 days later, you know, now because I'm scared, right? Because I looked up it, they said if you have one stroke within about 30 days, you're in danger of having another one, right? So I didn't find it, but I did go to the liquor store because I was like, I need something, right? Because I was alcohol and, you know, substance abuse addict. So I got some Rain vodka too, like Rain, and that little pretty gas. And the only reason I got that because my neighbor said that she drank it and she was, you know, she had caught my eye one day. So we were supposed to get up and drink some. Right now, I'm literally out the hospital having a stroke. That was the cross addiction too, right? So I drank a little bit of that, couldn't even get it down, started choking and coughing. Almost like the first time I ever drank Canadian Mist. Felt the same way, but I kept drinking it that night. So 2 days later, I went to check my blood pressure. It was like 190 over 177. Went back to the hospital. And then I was like, okay, I got to be more healthy. Somebody called me. They taught me how to juice. I was juicing for like a good 30 days. Cucumber, celery, green apple, spinach, and kale. I did that for like 30 days. You know, I started taking moringa powder. You know, I started drinking water, start eating wheats and oats and packing my lunch bag to work every day. And I did well. I did well for about 4 or 5 months until me and a girl went out from work one day. We went out to eat from work one day. Started drinking tequila. Next thing you know, what comes up in the conversation? white girls. So, same thing. So me and her, we started, doing our thing, getting high, doing our thing at work, and that started the whole cycle again until May of 2019. And I say this is really, a poor thing. I know, right? So this is really the catalyst. The probation officer was telling me, look, you're about to get off probation. You're scheduled to get off in October, because that's when I got shot, right? So I was supposed to get it off in October after 11 years. He said, look, I'm going to turn all your paperwork in, right, to Virginia Beach. Now, because it's the end of it, I got to turn all the paperwork in. Now, they might violate you because of all the dirty urines, right? And so I was like, okay. So in May, they violated me. And I remember like I was just coming back from getting me a little sack, and the police saw my car. He turned around, he pulled into, I hurried up, got into the house, looked out the window. He had rolled by, right? I got into the house, but I forgot the liquor. I can't get high without the liquor. So I ran outside, and he was sitting down the street. So by the time I did get the liquor, get back in the house, but I stayed in an apartment building where you walk in the door, and it's a door right here, a door right here, and a door upstairs, and a door upstairs. So he walked in. He couldn't really get in the building, but he was knocking on the door, banging on the door. Me, I walk out, look at him, open the door. He was like, are you driving that car right there? I was like, yeah. Put your hands behind your back. You got a warrant. He ran my tags, right? So when I was in jail, my older godbrother, they said he was really sick. Now, I stayed in jail for about 9 days. They was like, man, he really sick, man. He really sick. Rest in peace, LB, Larry Bolger, right? He was the pastor's son of the church that I grew up with. And they said he was really sick. Now, mind you, I'm 41 at the time. He was my age right now, 46. And so I went to pretrial. They gave me a bond. They gave me a bond of like $2,500. But they gave me some conditions. They said, you got to be on color code. The color code is when you got to call the probation officer every morning. If they call your color, you got to come in and pee. Also, I got to report every Wednesday and do a drug test as well. So they let me out. Within about 2 days of them letting me out, my godbrother passed, and I didn't get a chance to see him. And he had went in the hospital like in May and died in June 6th. And so I had a chance to go to his funeral, right? And I never cried, right? Because I was like, man, why him? Right now, of course, like he lived a hard life. He drunk and smoked, but he didn't do as much as I did. Like nowhere near as much as I did, right? And so I was like, man, so of course, I'm drinking and getting high during that time because that's how you cope with things, right? So August 26th, me, my family, my mother, my father, we took my dad to his first Yankee game, right? But on the way up there, my lawyer called me. He was like, yeah, you got to go to court. You got to come to court Monday because you failed the drug test. That's not fair to call that drug white girl, bro. You right. Is that Karen saying that? That's crazy. That's crazy. Is that my sister? Is that my sister, Karen? Now, I do got a sister named Karen, so I can joke about people named Karen. But anyway, but anyway, let me not get focused in the comments, right? So, I had failed some drug tests. So, I could not stay out for 2 months, knowing that my freedom depended on it without using, right? So, that's when I knew I had a problem, but that's when I really was like, okay. So, they took me back to jail until October the My court date was in like October or November. And that's when I opened my eyes and said, every time that I been to jail, drugs or substances were involved. And so I was laying in bed one day and I saw like an old man. He had to be like 70 or 80, willing himself, on the respirator, with the little walker into the jail. And I looked at him and I said, if I don't change, that's going to be me. That's going to be me. And so I had already researched the program to go to. I didn't even research, but I took the pamphlet one day. I was outside of Walmart. If y'all ever seen those guys outside of Walmart that sell the trinkets and the T-shirts and take donations, I got one. I got a flyer from them. It was called Life Changers. And then so when I was waiting on that, they said it was going to give me 2 years. But I filled out the application for Life Changers, and they accepted me. And so I told the judge, I was like, look, judge, I told my lawyer, look, I know they're going to want to give me 2 years, but I've been accepted to do this program. So if you tell them that, I don't need 2 years, but it was like, now they're going to give you 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. Long story short, I fasted and prayed for 3 days a week. And God answered my prayer. I asked him for 3 specific things to let me out on October the 7th. I remember the day now. It was October the 7th. Let me out on October the 7th. Release me from probation and turn the judge's heart in my favor. And God, I literally watched him do all 3 in the court that day. And I think I told that story before. But they was about to give me 2 years. The judge was looking at my case and was like, yo, he hasn't been in trouble. And the lawyer was like, yeah, but, he was charged in 2014 with the art, kidnapping, and all of that. And the judge was like, yeah, he was charged, but he wasn't convicted of anything. Why should he be punished for something that he didn't do? And the DA was like, yeah, but that's the rules. The judge was like, all right, y'all already got an agreement together. But, I know one thing. If it was up to me, I wouldn't give him no 2 years. I wouldn't give him a year. And when I heard that, I told my lawyer, I was like, listen, no, I'm not writing that plea. I'm just going to plead guilty and leave it in the judge's hands. So that's what I did. The DA went to present all my record and all my offenses. My lawyer handed the judge one letter that my mother wrote. My mother and father was in the audience. And the letter started out saying that, my father was in the military. She was giving a background on my family. And so when the judge saw that, he looked at me and said, Mr. Taylor, were you in the military? I was in the military. I looked around at my mom. I was like, nah, that's my dad. And so the judge looked over me and started talking to my dad about their military history, right? Laughing and joking like they were old friends. And so then he started reading the letter more. And he said, okay, you guys are from Goldsboro. I'm from Greenville. Yeah, that's right down the street. Yeah, man, I grew up in Greenville. I went to UNC. Everybody wanted me to go to ECU, but I went to UNC. My dad said, well, yeah, my godson went to UNC, such and such and such. They started talking like old friends, and then the judge started reading the letter. He was like, listen, it's obviously, Mr. Taylor, you got a problem. But I don't see how jail is going to help you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release you from jail today. And also, because you know how I feel, he told the clerk, you know how I feel about these cases that's been over 12 years. I'm going to release you from probation today. And I'm going to let you out of 2 years good behavior. But, you got a nice family, man. Just get some help. I said UNC, my fault. He said UNC, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So I looked and I was like, I was ready to take that 2 years because like that was it, right? And so I said, God, I was trying to bargain with you for this program. I was really trying to bargain with the judge. Like, listen, I got accepted this program. Don't send me away. But God literally answered all of my prayers right then, right? So it was October the 7th. Now, mind you, my sobriety date is November the 19th. Now, from October the 7th to November the 19th, I went home to Goldsboro, and I told my parents, I said, I'm going to go to the program. And I really was going to go. But first of all, I wanted to get my unemployment because I knew that when I was up there in the mountains, I wanted to be stacking money. I didn't need any money there, but if I was able to claim my unemployment each week, by the time I get out of there, I have me a nice nest egg saved up. So I waited for about a month. They finally gave me that unemployment. Now, all during a while, of course, I was still going out drinking and stuff and getting it out of my system. And so when they finally gave me that money, I said, okay, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take a trip to D.C. I'm going to go to the casino, which is a whole nother story. Now, that's a whole, the gambling addiction. That's a whole nother thing in itself. That's a whole nother testimony that God delivered me from. But so I went to the casino, and then, I had to go get it. I got a little bag, and then, I went, dropped some change, came back, and then I think it was a Saturday night. No, it was a Saturday night. I called the people, and I asked them what I need to bring and where they was at. And then, okay, I said, okay, so that Sunday night, that same Saturday night, I said, okay, I'm going out here. I'm going to get high for the last time. I'm going to get high and drunk for the last time. And that's what I did. I went out, got high, got the feeling again. And that Monday morning, my parents drove me and dropped me off to Life Changes Outreach in Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. And I was out there in the mountains with some, mostly white brothers and sisters. But I stayed there for 3 months, and by the grace of God, I am still sober to this day, going on 5 years. And all of those things that I have mentioned, and that's just part of the testimony. And I can't find, okay, I'm going to show y'all this picture right here. Yeah, so this picture right here is from November 22. It's a lot more, but I can't download load all of them. Yeah, and it was so many. It was so many addictions, right? But this is one of the pastors there that was at the program. Now this is 2 years after. This is 2 years after I left. That's Pastor Chad right there. Now, Chad, if you see his before and after picture, man, I'm talking about it ain't a crackhead or meth head that you ever seen that look worse than him. But that's 2022. Yeah, and that's out in Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. And like I said, it was a tough program. Like every morning we got up at 6. Once again, a lot of times I was the only black dude there, but I knew in my mind that I had to get away from everything. And everybody knows how pro-black I am too. You know what I'm saying? And they knew it too. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, God did something for me in those mountains that, I can only attest to him. Like, and I remember when he took the whole desire away one day when I was sitting in there getting my haircut. And there was a dude named Joe Bradley from Goldsboro and another guy just argued. They argued all the time. And I was sitting there getting my hair cut right by the back door of the house we stayed in. And I just felt the peace. It just came over me like, man, this is life. Like, this sober life is life. So I tell everybody, I had a lot of fun. And those stories that I'm telling you, like, those are only the half. I ain't even gonna hold you. I won't lie to you. I had a lot of fun out there when I was doing what I was doing. Don't let nobody tell you that sin ain't fun. I'm gonna just be real. Don't let nobody tell you that sin is not fun. You know, but I tell everybody that I have gotten more fulfillment in these 5 years than I had in the 2012 plus 41. That's 29 years. No, 12, 22, 32. Yeah, that's 29 years. I've got more fulfillment in my life in the past 5 years than the 29 years that I spent just throwing my life away. Like, there were certain points on that time, like, I would literally go to work, get off work, get a bag, some liquor, and stay up all night by myself in a room and do it again the next day. Like, there was this time I remember it vividly. I was staying in Park Place. If y'all know anything about Norfolk Park Place, I remember I had stayed in my room and got high so much, going home and coming back from work, going home and coming back from work, that one Saturday, I decided to walk to the store, and I walked outside with a sweater and a coat on, and I saw people looking at me like I was crazy because it was so hot, like it was July. But that's how much I had went out the house. That's how much I had went out the house, the 757. And so when something has you like that, you know, you don't even recognize it. Mind you, like I said, I never reached a rock bottom status where, you know, I could always wear a mask, and that's what I called it. I always wore a mask, even, you know, when I was looking like I was, right? Like my mama probably knew it. Those who loved me, you know, knew something was wrong. But I was so, nah, I don't need nothing. I'm good. Yeah, I'm going to work. I'm at work now. I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm going there. You know, Mom, I'm good. I'll be home next week. You know, it was that type of deal where nobody could tell me nothing because I won't eating out the bottom of the trash can. You know, I won't borrowing money. I won't, you know, wanting for anything. And so I just thank God, man. I just really thank God for you know, what he has done. And that's what I realized too. I heard you say the Lord, that's the true spiritual high, right? No need for substance. And that's like, even I won't take pills now. Like, I don't even like take muscle relaxer or anything that alters my mind. I don't like it now. Now, has everything been a bed of roses? Nah. Have I not encountered some issues? I remember one time that, you know, I got into it with a family member, and I'm talking about leaving. There was nothing that I wanted more than a drink. There was nothing that I wanted more than a drink. And I just had to ride around for a while. And I came home and I went to sleep. I went to sleep. Like I just had to go to sleep. There was nothing I could do but go to sleep. Nothing. And it, you know, it's I don't know. It's just a freedom. It's a freedom that you have when and sometimes you have to sit back and reflect. And I just thank God for what He has done, for me, and hopefully, for people that you have, or any of you who might be listening, who is struggling, don't. This is not, this is for you. I'm telling you that this is, I am him. I'm him, as they say. I'm him. I'm that guy who made it through grace and mercy, and by the hand of God. None of this is because of me. Like, God spared me. I am one who made it out. So many trials and tribulations that I can't hold it in. I couldn't hold this in today. I had to tell it because the day I woke up with a new freedom, right? I don't know. Maybe it's the 5-year mark. Maybe it's just, solidified. Somebody tell me what 5 means biblically. But I just woke up today with like another kind of freedom. Another kind of freedom. I don't know what it was this morning. I'm like, man, I'm really free. Like, I'm really free. And so that is the darkness, right? And so I'm gonna show you just a couple of things that God has done for me, or even God has allowed me to do within these 5 years. I was going back and I was trying to find some pictures, but the only thing I could find was like these recent pictures, right? And so I'm gonna show you a couple of these pictures, right? So this is when was this? Last year? This was last year. As you see, I talk about working with the rites of passage in Durham. I took these young men out camping, right? Some kids, let's just call it from the hood. We took them out there camping, right? This is last year, or the year before last. I spoke at a testimony service at my old church. This is a little indie movie that I was in about mental health with the organization that I was working with. This is, a church I spoke at a year or two ago from a lady I met doing some community work. This is, some news interviews that, they call me when, shootings happen in my hometown. A woman was shot and her 2 daughters were shot there. This is at a reentry conference in Raleigh. I think that was last year. That's me interviewing the current mayor. I was interviewing the county, the mayors or the participants during this year's elections. This is at a conference, assisting victims of violence. A lot of these people lost loved ones to gun violence. I was there, to speak in support. This right here is an event that I did with Uncle Selvin out there in Charlotte. We took those kids. I took about 15 kids from Goldsboro to Charlotte. It was an event called Pick Up the Weights, Put Down the Guns. And they speaking on the news and to the crowd. This is us at the Free James Richardson campaign in front of the governor's mansion. I was working. There's the thing, a decarcerate now every year. So we do that every year. And there's me with, at the same event, that's Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter. That was last year. And you see Mr. James Richardson. We've been working on this case for like 2 years, trying to get him free. That's me speaking at a school in Wilson, North Carolina, a charter school. Last year, shout out to my brother Terrence Thornton. for giving me that opportunity. Now, this is when we took 40 children last year, 45 children last year to a Charlotte Hornets basketball game. You see, with all the short, and we did that the year before as well. And this is pictures from my after-school program that I was doing in one of the projects last year. I didn't do it this year because I just didn't have enough help, but I would do it every Monday. We would go out, exercise, we would eat, do things, have them serve, just try to do some things. This is me speaking at the prison last year. And I was speaking at the prison every second Sunday, every second and fourth Sunday, all last year until once again my schedule just got too busy. So these are I just wanted to share a few of the things that God has allowed me to do. And I didn't have time enough for the show to get everything that I've been doing for the last 5 years. So when you see me on this platform and me trying to help people, like that's what I do in real life. People ask me, like, even before I started doing this YouTube stuff, like I was literally out in the community doing something every day. And people used to ask me, man, how do you do it? Why do you go so hard? When do you stop? You always doing something. You busy, like you always. And I tell them, like, I spent so many years of my life doing the wrong thing. I went so hard for the wrong thing. And that's why I go so hard today for the right thing. And I don't think people understand it, that this ain't just start happening. Like this ain't, this. Even when I was in my addiction, I didn't have to have time to go far back, but I was working with the youth, fighting for justice up in Norfolk, even in my addiction, and I with Michael Muhammad and, the Clean organization and Empower Youth up there. I even then, I was still, like, even in my deepest addiction, I would be trying to do something for others. So, that's I don't know. I just felt like sharing that today because sometimes you got to sit and think, and it dawned. I was looking for an old picture with me in KRS-One because I wanted to show you, like, even I was with him that day at a conference, a Stop the Violence conference, and we took a picture. I couldn't find a picture, but I wanted to show, like, how bad I looked then. Even though, like, I had already written the book and I was, still, around great people, I still was, like, like, if you look at me now and you look at me then, you can tell I was a totally different person. But I couldn't find, like, so when I'm trying to find those pictures, all I saw was those pictures that I show you, was the pictures of life, was the pictures of, of what God has done. So I think that was God's way of saying me, okay, well, now don't show the darkness. You can tell them about the darkness, but show the light. Show the light. Show what God has done since then. And so that's what I decided to do, rather than show all the pictures of light, of darkness. So you look like a shorty. But yeah, man, it's been a journey, man. And God, God, I give all the glory and honor to God. So if anybody doesn't think that God is real and God can change you, the only thing you have to do is surrender, because that's what I did. I surrendered. And, God is taking me places that I couldn't take myself. Like I said, like, Uncle Selwyn, he calls me all the time. Like he goes across the nation advocating, and other people, of his, and even y'all don't even know, you guys who call and listen and call and chat with me, and encourage me and want to get involved in what, everybody got going on, the people who are interested in all of these cases, who are, providing ideas, who are doing the research. Justice for Javion, all of those names, Michelle, I see them. Like, all of you guys are just as important. Y'all play a part in this, in each other's lives. Like, I hope I play a positive influence in y'all lives as well. But, we have to just realize that everybody has a story. And God is able to change your story. Even right now, even today, he is able to change, your life, your story, the book, the pages in your book. He's able to rewrite that story. I'm a 4-time felon. I've been shot 4 times. I've had a stroke. I had a brain aneurysm. I faced the rest of my life for crimes I didn't do. I didn't get a chance to get my whole rap sheet, but my rap sheet is like this big, just disappointed so many people, disappointed, just so many people, but God, he didn't give up on me. There was that song, Smokey Norfolk, but God, he saw the best in me. I'm grateful. His gratefulness, all of those things, man, you cannot discount the power of God, man, and what he can do. I'm a living witness, man. So I just had to come up and testify tonight because, man, it's like fire. Jeremiah said it's like fire. Shut up in my bones. If I had 10,000 tons, I gotta sing praises, man. And I'm not an emotional. I always tell people, even when I speak, like, I'm not an emotional Christian, right? And what I mean by that is there were a lot of times when I was like in my lowest point. And, I had done got high for two or 3 days and then came home to North Carolina. And it's Sunday morning and I go back home, my parents' house, and they already at church, and I feel the peace of God just walking in there. Like, if you've ever been, like, if somebody is truly in tune with God, when you get around them, you feel the peace of God, right? So I walk in the house, they already go to church. I'm coming in smelling like liquor and, dirty and smelling like smoke and, just ragged looking. So I hurry up and take a shower. I'm going to church, right? So I'm going to church, and when I get to church, everything just hit me, right? All my sins, all of my despair, all the hopelessness, right? And then I go to the altar and I get down, Lord, thank you, Lord, save me, Lord, I'm sorry. I start crying and snotting. Y'all been to church, you know how it is. Start snotting and falling out. Oh, Lord, thank you, I ain't gonna do it no more. Oh. And then after the feeling goes, after you get it all out, you get the all cry out, you get all emotional, then I go right back home, and then, I start back feeling good. I feel good about myself, get back to work the next week, next day, right back at it, right? Yeah, snotting. You snotting, slobbering out your mouth. People yelling at you, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, spitting in your ear and stuff. If y'all ain't been to a holy church, I know some of y'all grew up in church, right? Yeah, so that's why I said, okay, well, now I gotta be intentional with my salvation. It can't just be a feeling. It gotta be a commitment. It gotta be true surrender. It can't be a feeling. It gotta be, with my spirit, with my mind, with my soul. So that's why I say I'm not emotional, because A lot of people will go back and go. I've seen it happen. Go to church, start shouting. Yeah, because you somebody put it in the chat. Conviction. We're convicted of our sins, But when you really, really, just be like, God, okay, but I can't do it by myself, and that was, me going to recovery. Was saying, God, I can't do it by myself. I can't do this by myself. I've tried. And my mother used to always tell me since I was like 21 and would come in, eyes red, smelling like smoke. I don't know why I thought back in the days that if riding with the car, riding, smoking weed in a car, she won't go smell it in the morning. Like, I don't know what was I thinking. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much I rolled the windows down, because when people don't smoke, they don't they smell it. So, but she would always tell me, "Look, Richard, well, don't you think you need some help?" In the sweetest way, right? You ever thought about getting some help? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, what you mean? I don't need no help. What are you talking about? I don't need no help. All right, she'll just go ahead and then that's next time she see me depressed and laying down because I just spent all my money, or I ain't got no money, or whatever. I done lost all my money gambling. Then I'm in the I'm in bed again. Why don't you get up? You don't want to go. You don't want to go to the program. You know what I'm saying? So, but I thank God for my mother and father and my grandmother and my godmothers and people who have been praying for me over the years, because the scripture says the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous avails much. And so I am definitely a living testimony. So, and I got a call from a brother, and I hope you watching my brother. He was talking about his 17-year-old son. 17-year-old son sound like me when I was 17. Out there in the street, walking around with guns, hanging around with gang members, stealing out his mama pocketbook, stealing the car, all those things I did. And, I just had to tell the brother, I said, man, right now, he's at that age, like I was 17. And I tell everybody that this goes with the cross addiction. I tell everybody, as soon as I got me some, and I was 17 when I got me some. And if you don't know what got me some is, then you ain't old enough to be in my era. But I got me some at 17. After that, like, all bets was off. Like, nobody could tell me nothing. Like, I was a man. Like, no, I went crazy. I tell people that. I went crazy when I got me some. Like, I went crazy. Like, nothing. I was 17. It was my junior year. So I was probably like 17 in 4 months. I was late. You know what I'm saying? I was late. The most, some of y'all were probably 13 or 14 getting it in. I was able to finally have those locker room conversations. You know what I'm saying? And not have to change the subject or not be quiet, or you know what I'm saying? Not look away when everybody talking about, you know what I'm saying, what they was doing. So, but I mean, that brought me to mind of the 17-year-old boy that the father was telling him. I was like, man, it sounds like, he's just going to have to learn some hard lessons. He's just going to have to learn some hard lessons. Now, I gave him some advice about what, he should do as far as trying to reach him. But like when I was 17, my daddy couldn't tell me nothing. My daddy used to. I remember one time I was playing cards on the block. My daddy, and it's probably like maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, right? And we had a pool hall. And mind you, by this time, I'm probably like 19, 20, maybe 21, maybe. So my daddy rose up to the block. Pool was right in front of the door. And I'm like, no, he ain't up here on the block. And I can't remember if he got out the car or I just went to the car. Either way, I left with him, right? And so I'm sitting there, I'm riding. I'm like, Dad, how did you know where I was? And he said something. He said, God told me where you was, right? Now, by that time, I don't think it was, I mean, God had already told him where he was because, like, the town was so small. So there were times when I would be on the block. Like, this was the main strip of the town. So the time I would be on the block, and by the time I got home, my mom said, Sister Johnson said she saw you on the block. Like, so it won't rock his ass where I was at by then. But that you know that showed that he cared. Now, mind you, when I got out the car and he got home and went to sleep, like I literally walked right back to the block, you know. So, but he didn't give up on me neither. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I said. You know, to the brother, I said, just don't give up on him, man. Like, go, you know, and that's what, like he said, I know where he be hanging out at. He said, I know where he be hanging out at. So I'm gonna go up there and try to talk to him. And I hope he does, and I hope that plants that seed in it, you know, because like I said, he think he knows something, but 17, he don't know nothing. Like, I didn't know nothing at 17. You know, I thought I knew. I thought all my little friends who was 17, 18, and the other hustlers we used to look up to that were 23, I thought they had all the sense, right? They didn't know nothing either, man. A lot of them cats is there to go in jail, drugged out. Some of them made, you know, some of them finally got some sense about themselves. Some of them got some business of themselves, but a lot of them, you know, didn't make it. You know, and I'm just blessed to be here, you know, to tell the story of those who didn't make it. Tell the story of those who didn't make it. So I hope this has blessed somebody tonight. I hope I didn't ramble too much. There's okay. Job chapter 9, 24. Okay, let's hit some Bible verses real quick. You said Job chapter 9, verse 24. Let me see what we got. Thank you. Job. Okay, what do we got? The earth is given unto the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now that is a question, and I like because I have a lot of questions about the Bible. Now this is a verse that Job probably said, you know, when he was going through and he was, you know, sick. He said, yeah, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Is that not what we see today? He covered the faces of the judges thereof. These judges are not giving them justice. He said, if that's not the case, if the earth is not given unto the wicked, then where is God? Right? That is a question. And I got an atheist friend. Shout out to one man from Virginia Beach. He used to run with the Pineapples. I won't call him an atheist, but he just, you know, he said, okay, why God just don't kill the devil? You know what I'm saying? So a God, what about the little kid that gets shot? You know what I'm saying? God did that too. You know, he just asked realistic questions. It's like, yeah, okay, you got a point, my brother. You know what I'm saying? And we can explain it away where God is sovereign and, you know, but in reality, you know, that, yeah, why does the good people die? Why does the bad people get away? You know what I mean? That's just a real logical question that ain't even front of. I can't, you know, I mean, I can with a biblical verse and with the things that I've been told over the years, but you know, that is a good question. You know, from either, you know, like Job, let me see, Job chapter 20, verse 8. But those are good questions. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment about those questions. You know, why are some kids born? You know, why do godly parents get to, you know, like I said, why Juju Greg had to die at 18? You know, he was one of the good ones, right? You know what I'm saying? One of my best friends died. You know, he died at 18, but he was never in the streets like that. He was on the way to Fort Bragg, going back to, you know, his barracks at the base at 18. He fall asleep at the wheel and get hit by a Mack truck. One of the good ones, right? So it's those questions right there. Let me see. Joe 28, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. I don't know. Okay, they are nameless fools from society. Verse 9, they mock me with vulgar songs and they taunt me. When you get that with that verse, Manuel? Let me see. Let me see what y'all said. We really don't know the mind of God, but we do know he's a good God. So I believe it's always for good for us. It brings glory to God. I feel maybe God needed more good angels. Okay, that's a good, that's like I said, we don't know. So it's you know, we want to put God in the box, right? One person said, and I know it was a comedian, but once again, it makes sense. Yeah, and I want to say I know everything that God calls for me was for my good now. But it was a comedian. Y'all tell me what, what is his name? George Carlin. He said some stuff that made you think. He said either God is all good and not all powerful, or he's all powerful and not all good. Meaning, if he's all good, then somebody else has power that makes the bad things. Or if he's all powerful, then he allows bad and good things to happen. Now, Isaiah verse 45 and 7, my homeboy sent me this when he was in on the murder bid, probably this is probably like 20 years ago. Isaiah 45 and 7, I think it says, he says, I, God, allows the rain, the sun, the rain. What did it say? The rain on the sun to shine on the just. Let me get that right, because that verse right there kind of put everything in perspective to me. Let me see. Yep. He said, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So that's what it is. Yeah, George Carlin. I said George Carlin makes, he makes some good points, like, and it makes you think. Like, and once again, I'm not saying that he is right in everything that he says, but I am a thinker. Like I said, I've always asked questions, especially like I said, like when I was in there facing the rest of my life for something I didn't do. Like, I read the Bible 5 times in 5 months. And when I read that Bible, I won't confuse. I drew closer to God, but I was like, wait a minute. It says this right here, but then it says this right here. This is, so, and it was several things in there, but I didn't, okay, God is all powerful. Satan has dominion in the earth realm. That is true, because God said he has given him dominion over the kingdoms of the earth. And I said, but she's the, O Lord, the God of heaven, the great and terrible God that keepeth covenant and mercy for them that love him and observe his commandments. Now, I do know that, people who live righteously, they do get troubles and tribulations, but for the most part, they do not encounter a lot of wickedness. I think God is all good and powerful and allow bad things to happen because he knows the outcome and the true heart of each man. Simply means, okay, we are only here for a while. Man's life is like a vapor. It is here tomorrow, and tomorrow it pass away. We never know when our time will come. We have a birthday and a death day. We can't question why things happen. That's exactly Evelyn Ivy, we sitting there talking scriptures. I don't know where that came from. But yeah, but I got to get some rest. But I certainly appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all share this video with somebody who you think might need it. You know, if you don't share it, you know, wherever, you know, if somebody's going through it. And as always, you know, my number is open. If anybody, you know, kind of needs some direction on how to help a loved one. Oh, Kiana, okay, Kiana finally, okay. This is my niece, y'all. She finally, I've been begging her to watch my show. Now I can go to sleep. Appreciate you, sweetheart. Appreciate you. I got the girl from the college to do this joint. What y'all think? It ain't the straight backs. She gave me the zigzag joints. So, but yeah, that's my niece right there. If y'all was watching the other night, y'all saw her. But appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. And like I said, y'all share it with anyone who might need it, who you think it can help. And as always, once again, my line is open. If you have a loved one who's suffering, you know, from that sickness, you know, feel free to call me. I'll give you, you know, whatever advice that I can give you in that regard. But I thank y'all for tuning in. May God bless y'all and keep y'all throughout the night. Y'all have a great night. Wake up with the peace of God. And remember, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Freedom from everything. And I think it's St. John 5:7, 1 John 5:7, who he or she, who the Son has set free, is free indeed. So that's free from everything. Anxiety, depression, abuse, low self-esteem, substances, alcohol, cigarettes, heroin, lust, porn, promiscuity, I mean, overeating, whatever it is. He or she whom the Son sets free is indeed free. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night. Peace and love. Thank y'all.